por dentro y he visto que podía chutar y lo he probado.
How would you describe yourself as a player?
Divertido. Yo creo que divertido es la palabra.
Kept his composure, kept the ball. Now he sets off and skips away from Mkhitaryan. Oh, that's brilliant! That is
brilliant! Who's the best player in the world?
Lionel Messi.
Who's the best player of all time?
Lionel Messi.
Cristiano Ronaldo. There is no one to match him.
Today, no doubt, is the best player is Cristiano Ronaldo.
I don't think there's ever been a sport this dominated by exactly two people for this long. What football lost when Messi and Ronaldo faded wasn't just two great players, it was certainty. For broadcasters, for sponsors, for every kid who needs someone to put on a bedroom wall. Barcelona in particular struggled to fill that gap commercially after Messi left in 2021. And brands don't just want a good player anymore. They want someone who moves shirts and gets clipped into 1 million TikToks before the final whistle. The era they built together is winding down, and everyone in football knows it, even if nobody says it out loud. Football didn't lose Messi and Ronaldo. It lost its only two certainties. At the same time, this isn't really a story about a teenager. It's a story about what happens when a sport loses its two greatest characters at the same time and has to find out, in real time, whether it has anything left to replace them with. Who's next? There are candidates. Mbappe's been the heir apparent for years. Haaland's a different kind of dominant, pure goal-scoring machine. Bellingham's been the best midfielder at Real Madrid since he arrived. Vinicius has terrorized fullbacks across Europe for half a decade. All four are genuinely great. None of them have fully closed the argument, not the way Messi and Ronaldo did. And then, there's a fifth name. Showed up later than any of them. Younger than all of them. From a place none of them are from. He's too young to legally drive in most of Europe, and an unusual number of actual legends of the game have gone on camera specifically about him. By name, unprompted, this isn't a video about whether he's good. That's not really up for debate anymore. It's about whether football, after the two greatest careers it's ever produced, can find its next one, and whether it already has, without fully realizing it yet. So this isn't just is Lamine good, it's does football finally have its answer? Different question, higher stakes.
First time when I saw him that I have inside this, wow, who is it?
Man, honestly, he's doing what he's doing at his age, you know, what can you say, man? He's unreal. It's not normal.
I'm in charge. He's going in the right way because he's very young.
Get the ball. I've seen players young. No, and that's where I'm like, okay, this kid is a bit too ahead of the game for me. Yes.
Something we've ever seen, any of us. I think about myself when I was his age.
Yeah. I was doing a paper round at that age.
Yeah, I was kicking a ball, but I was not even dreaming that I would become a professional football player.
He's a special player for special moments.
And I think with Lamine, the potential is there to do very, very well for many years at Barcelona.
Para empezar, yo diría que por lo que demuestra en el campo, sino por la edad que tiene y lo que lleva, el tiempo que lleva haciéndolo, ¿no?
Best players of the last 20 years just spoke about him, back to back. Not one of them reached for a comparison. That's not normal. Usually somebody says he reminds me of. Within the first sentence, nobody did. That's the actual tell here. Not that they're impressed, but that they don't have anywhere else to put what they just watched. Except one. The one whose entire career this kid keeps getting measured against. Asked directly, at an Adidas event, to name a young player who reminds him of himself. I've heard that they have chosen Lamine Yamal. He's the present, and without a doubt, has a huge future. Before any of the trophies, You actually have to start with his name, because it's not just a name, it's basically the whole origin story compressed into 2 words. His full name is Lamine Yamal Nasraoui Abana, and Lamine Yamal isn't a family name at all, it's 2 names put together on purpose. When his parents were expecting him, they were living in a shelter, unable to cover rent. 2 men, one named Lamine, one named Yamal, stepped in and paid it for them. His parents decided, right there, that if they had a son, that's what they'd call him. Go back one more generation, to his grandmother, Fatima Romani. She came to Spain from Morocco alone, snuck onto a bus by herself, stopped in Algeciras, then Granada, before reaching Matar, worked constantly until she'd saved enough to bring Yamal's father over. For most families, that story ends right there. Nobody on that bus was traveling toward football history. They were traveling toward rent money. The neighborhood is Rocafonda, in Matar, 30 minutes up the coast from Barcelona. The kind of place that makes the news for its problems, not its footballers. Its postal code is 08304. That's the 3 fingers Yamal holds up every time he scores. Not a number he picked, because it looked cool. It's where he's from, in front of 80,000 people.
When you were 16.
Lamine was born July 13th, 2007. His parents separated when he was 3. He bounced between his mother in Granollers and his father back home, not really a split so much as 2 households. He wasn't even registered to play organized football for a straight. Just the straight, his dogs, whatever kids were around. December 2007, Barcelona puts together a charity calendar. Small, forgettable, they need babies for a photo. Yamal, 5 months old, gets entered by raffle. No connection to the club, not a prospect, just a baby. They bring in a Barcelona player, still a few years from being the best in the world, to bathe him in a towel for the camera. Awkward, unsmiling, just doing what he was asked. That player was Lionel Messi. Nobody in that room had any idea whose son that was. It's not destiny. It was a raffle for a calendar nobody kept.
En la vida, ¿no? Yo me hice una foto cuando él era bebé y que hoy estemos los dos enfrentando una Copa del Mundo.
He joins a local club at 4. At 6, Barcelona finds him at a trial game. By 7, he's in La Masia, the academy that built Messi, Xavi, Iniesta.
Lamine Yamal, pasa que él era un año inferior, es decir, era Benjamín de primer año, para entendernos. Hizo genial.
Football doesn't actually want another Messi. Every generation since 2010 has tried to manufacture one, anointed a 15-year-old, built a marketing plan around him, watched it collapse under its own weight. Failure isn't the exception, it's the pattern. Barcelona's own academy isn't exempt. Ansu Fati, a few years older, same academy, that exact label first, called the next Messi at 15, got hurt at exactly the age he needed to develop, never recovered that trajectory. Still a professional footballer, just not what the label promised. Football doesn't have a villain in this story, it has a pattern, and until now, the pattern always won. We just have to let him do what he likes on the pitch. To enjoy himself, we also shouldn't put too much pressure on him. Mark Serra, the coach who scouted Yamal at 6, the only voice in this video urging caution instead of piling on praise. Talent was never the question, whether he'd survive being good this early. It's not raw speed, and it's not one trick. He sees the game a beat faster than everyone else, knows where the defender's about to commit before the defender does. Not size, not power. Information, processed faster than the guy marking him. Some of that's La Masia's whole positional play system, Some of it's just him. Every other Wonder Kid football has produced in the last 2 decades played like they knew the label was watching. You could see it. The hesitation, the over-eagerness. Lamine plays like nobody ever told him he was supposed to be the next Messi. Not because he doesn't know. He plays like a kid from Rocafonda who's still enjoying the game he learned in the street. That's not better than the others. It's different. A financial crisis put him on the pitch, not a scouting department. Barcelona, 2023. Functionally broke. Dembele sold. Ansu Fati still not producing. Barcelona needs a right winger and can't afford one. What they have instead is a 15-year-old nutmegging first-team players in training. Barcelona didn't plan for a 15-year-old to become its answer, but with money tight and Yamal impossible to ignore, Xavi makes the call. April 29th, 2023, Lamine comes on against Real Betis at 15 years, 290 days old. Youngest to appear for Barcelona's first team this century. I told him not to be afraid to try something, and he tried. Xavi Hernandez. On the debut, that's the whole engine behind everything else in this video. Not being told he was good. Being told not to be scared. Within a year, youngest goal scorer in La Liga history. Youngest in a Clásico. A contract through 2031. Release clause near €1 billion. And the same kid negotiating 9 figures was still commuting to training by scooter and train, falling asleep under a blanket, starving by the time he got home. Every great career has a moment like this. This one has a Tuesday night in Munich. Spain wasn't supposed to win Euro 2024. Spain had a 16-year-old starting every game. The semifinal, France, Mbappe, Dembele, Griezmann. Before kickoff, Adrian Rabiot suggested the stage might simply be too much for a 16-year-old. Lamine didn't answer in the press. He posted this instead. France scored first. Spain looked shaken. 21 minutes in, the ball finds Lamine. 30 yards from goal. 7 defenders between him and the net. 2 teammates making runs. The obvious decision is to pass. He doesn't. He turns away from Rabiot specifically and curls it into the top corner. That was the moment football stopped asking whether he belonged and started asking what it had just witnessed.
After the match, you looked into the TV cameras and you said, speak now, speak now. What was the meaning behind that?
Spain beat France. Then England in the final. Lamine became the youngest goal scorer in European Championship history, finished with more assists than anyone else in the tournament, and was named Young Player of the Tournament. He wasn't just beating France. He was beating the same pattern that swallowed Ansu Fati. A month later, the story cuts somewhere nobody was celebrating. It reportedly began with something almost absurdly small. A dispute after water was thrown on Mounir Nasraoui. Hours later, the argument escalated into a violent attack, and Lamine Yamal's father was stabbed. August 2024. Mounir Nasraoui, Yamal's father, barely in his 30s himself, was stabbed multiple times in a parking lot in Matar. I saw myself between life and death. Mounir Nasraoui. He recovered, back supporting his son within weeks. The trophy belonged to a whole country. The stabbing belonged to one family, 30 minutes up the coast from Barcelona. In the same neighborhood, this entire story started. Lamine came up in a completely different media environment than Messi or Ronaldo did. His highlights are in TikToks within minutes. Every touch gets picked apart within the hour. That's a different kind of pressure, not just a stadium, an algorithm that never stops watching. It cuts both ways though. The most commented moment of Yamal's whole World Cup wasn't a goal. It was his 3-year-old half-brother, Keane. going viral from the stands for ignoring fist bumps and playing with a ball on the Ballon d'Or red carpet instead of posing Yamal on him. My little brother means everything to me. It feels like he is my son. Asked what he actually wants out of all this.
Creo que no voy a llegar en mejor momento a este mundial. Me siento importante, me siento bien. Tengo muchas ganas de que llegue y lo voy a disfrutar muchísimo. Es un respeto mutuo y yo creo que los dos también sabemos que ni yo quiero ser Messi, y Messi sabe que yo no quiero ser él. Yo quiero seguir mi camino y ya está.
On his 18th birthday, Yamal threw a party. 200 guests. It became the biggest off-field controversy of his career. Reports that people with dwarfism had been hired specifically as entertainment triggered a formal complaint from a Spanish Disability Rights Association and a government-requested investigation. A government ministry asked for a criminal investigation into a teenager's birthday party. Real consequence, not tabloid noise. His father, people need to respect an 18-year-old boy. Maybe, but respect isn't the same as being let off the hook. This is the one moment in the whole story where Yamal isn't the underdog beating the odds. He's just a rich, famous teenager who made a call that hurt people and had to answer for it publicly. The rest is simpler. Houses bought for his mother, father and grandmother, and a payoff. For years, this video joked he was too young to rent a car in most of Europe. He finally got his license in 2026. By 2024-25, the record-breaking had become routine, a Ballon d'Or conversation, a league title, Real Madrid beaten repeatedly. This was a kid who couldn't lose. This is the first time anything in this video goes wrong for him. In April, a hamstring injury, not career-threatening, but serious. By late May, with the World Cup weeks away, he said something that doesn't sound like anything else he's said in this entire video. I was afraid that I would miss the World Cup. Every other quote from him is a kid unbothered by pressure. This is the first time he's admitted being scared not of a defender, of his own body. He made the tournament but started on the bench, still not fully himself. Barcelona's manager had publicly clashed with the Spanish Federation over how hard he was being pushed while hurt. Summer 2026, the World Cup final. On one side, Messi's Argentina, almost certainly his last World Cup, the final night of a career that had defined an era, and on the other, Lamine Yamal, 19 years old, his thighs still wrapped, 3 days removed from a fitness scare that had genuinely threatened to keep him out of the biggest game of his life. But he started, because this was no longer a story about whether Lamine Yamal was ready. This was his story now. And somehow, the football gods had written the ending perfectly. Messi's Argentina, Yamal's Spain. The beginning of one era standing on the pitch with the beginning of another. The game was everything a World Cup final should be. Tense, relentless, unforgiving. And then Spain scored. One goal. That was all it took. And for the next hour, Spain held on to it against Messi and Argentina, defending that lead with everything they had. Spain were world champions. Messi's era had reached its final whistle, and Lamine Yamal's had just begun. At 19 years and 6 days old, Lamine Yamal became the youngest player in history to win both the European Championship and the FIFA World Cup. He had done it on the same pitch as Lionel Messi, not replacing him, not becoming him, but beginning something entirely his own. One person wasn't there to see it though, his father, the same guy who'd survived a stabbing 2 years earlier, the same guy who'd been on the pitch after the Euro final, at the Ballon d'Or ceremony, in the stands for basically every big moment of his son's career, stayed home, his own father, Lamine's grandfather, had just died, and he was grieving. So the biggest night of Lamine's career happened without him. Someone else was there though, his girlfriend, Inés Garcia Santos, in the stands the whole tournament, celebrating with him on the pitch when it ended. Family missing, family present, all in the same night. The grandmother, who once snuck onto a bus alone with nothing, worked herself to exhaustion just to bring her family over, still lives in Rocafonda, but a new house bought by her grandson. Can anyone actually replace Messi and Ronaldo? No, not in the way the question usually gets asked. Nobody replaces two of the greatest careers a sport has ever produced. But that's the wrong way to think about what football actually needed. Football didn't find its next Messi. It didn't find its next Ronaldo either. It found the first kid who never tried to be either one. He just kept playing like nobody had told him any of that. That's not a successor. That's the second act.